Marketing Your Private Practice is a podcast where you'll learn easy to implement tips and strategies to grow your business without spending all day online. I'm your host, Kathy Colaiacovo, and I teach practitioners the Thrive marketing method to create simple and streamlined plans by focusing on long-term strategies, not just social media. Discover ways to spend less time on your marketing, attract more clients, and build the financial freedom that comes with a thriving practice. One where you have time left in your day for the people and things that matter to you. Hey, private practice heroes, it's Kathy Colaiacovo with the Marketing Your Private Practice podcast. Today, we are doing one of our special free marketing reviews, and I have a guest on with me today. Her name is Maggie Hunt. She is from Pine, Colorado, and she is a holistic therapist. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about her in a second. But I want to remind everybody that these are open to anyone to book with me. They are a great way to help business and practice owners that have a marketing roadblock holding you back and keeping you from growing your business, from growing your practice. If you book one of these sessions with me, my goal is to figure out what is your roadblock and get you some action steps so that you can move forward and start seeing results that you're after. And now we're going to talk to Maggie about some of the challenges that she's having. So Maggie, we're going to talk more about your offers and your programs and how you can get people to reach you. So before we talk about your specific issue, I do want to do a little introduction. Maggie is from Pine, Colorado, and she offers alternative and holistic health services. She uses mindfulness, movement, meditation. Maggie offers different services, and she has a very specific one or two that she offers. One is called gyrotonic, and the other one is called gyrokinesis. So Maggie, you work with a lot of mindfulness, meditation, mindful movement, body work, trauma healing, plus the gyrotonic and gyrokinesis that we're talking about here. So I'm going to get you, before we dive into your website and what you wanted to talk about today, why don't you share a little bit more about what these unique types of services that you offer are all about?
Yeah. My structure, my bone work, my livelihood is being a gyrotonic and gyrokinesis pre-trainer, which is doing the teacher trainings for the people that want to learn more about gyrotonic and gyrokinesis. It's very much of a personal journey because they usually had a Parkinson's, spinal cord injury, something that's not your regular neck pain, and understanding that there's a lot more depth into whatever has happened into the pain body. They usually come with some pain that we look through the structure, through the lens of gyrotonic, which is the machine that they have different modalities as far as cancer, osteoporosis, martial arts, different branches that you can continue evolving and rehabbing the body and really understanding the postural alignment, which 90% of things that happen in life is because of the postural alignment. So really what gyrotonic and gyrokinesis for me in my practice is really re-educating your body of where postural misalignment is.
Okay, so now we're going to talk a little bit about why you wanted this review. You had indicated to me that the big issue that you're having, I'm trying to offer only one service and having a challenge combining all my tools to deliver clearly the one signature offer is a service, which is a very common issue a lot of people have. Earlier this year, and we were talking about it before we got on the studio and recording, I had done a couple of episodes on narrowing down your offers so things aren't complicated and makes it easier for people to understand what you offer so they will buy more because it's more clear. Clarity is huge in not only how you present what you do to people, but also how you present your services and what you offer. So looking at this, you've been in business 10 years. You said earlier that to me that you have in-person clients and you're really trying to reach more online clients because you can do your service virtually and you're looking to expand a little more that way. But in the expansion, the challenge you're having is how do you take all these different things you do as part of your service, as part of your practice, and just put it out there so that you're not listing everything in the closet, confusing people, and that they understand what you have to offer. Does that sound about where the issue is, the roadblock is?
Yes, exactly where the roadblock is.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Having said all of that, I'm going to ask you a few questions here. And if anybody wants to follow along, Maggie's website is maggiemhunt.com. And it's MAGGIEMhunt.com. So I will put that into the show notes wherever you're listening if people want to go and kind of check it out, use it as a resource. Earlier, before we started recording, I asked you what gyrokinesis and gyrotonic were. And then I asked you once we got on the recording, and I got different answers from you both times. One was a lot longer of an explanation than one you just gave me and everybody right now. But the one earlier, you said it in a much more succinct way. Of course, we did that before I hit record. So now I don't have that saved. But I'm going to ask you some questions that relate back to how people find you and your clients and what they do and what they're looking for with this. Because I think that's going to be a key part of how you can overcome this issue that you're having here. Okay. One of the questions that I ask is, it sounds to me like from what you were talking about, there could be people that you work with that have spinal injuries, other things going on that are more what I would say would be something physical that is a definitive thing that's happening, and they're looking for support. For most of them, what I would like you to share with us is, what do they come looking for when they come to you? So the people that you do work with in person, you've got words: mindfulness, meditation, mindful movement, trauma healing, body work. If I were to ask you for that dream client that you work with, what is the problem that they say they have when they come looking to work with you?
It's a sports injury or some injury. They want to run better. They want to be there for their kids. It's something that it's injury related. And the common thread with working with the clients that have actually came to see me, which they don't recognize, and it's not on my website. The common thread of 18 years is scar tissue work.
Okay. All right. So they will go seeking you for that particular specialty of scar tissue? No.
And that's every single person that I've worked, because when you start working with the body and there's injury, there's a scar tissue buildup.
Okay. So they don't know they have a scar tissue problem, but that's
Correct.
what they have. Okay. That's interesting. So they just describe it as a sports injury.
Yeah, they fell, they were thrown from a horse, they had car accident, they did a triathlon, they had injury, they did martial art, they got kicked. It's usually a vertigo or car accident issues.
Okay.
That over time the body starts piling up on the scar tissue work.
Right.
That's once you start understanding structurally where the misalignment is and where the energy doesn't go or flow or the range of motion is not moving, then you start looking at what has been built up on the fascial body to understand that there's a scar tissue buildup.
Okay.
And then you have to re-educate, whether it's with tools, whether it's with breath work, whether it's with, the gyrotonic and gyrokinesis as far as movement patterns and understanding that you're not moving properly. You start understanding where the actual issue is in the tissue.
And they understand that when they start working with you.
Correct.
Okay. But ultimately, they're coming to you because they have had some sort of injury and they're looking for some sort of relief from pain from that injury?
Yes.
Or discomfort or issues with movement?
The person that comes to me is usually they've tried physical therapy, they've tried massage therapy, chiropractic, whatever programs they've tried. And it's a physical pain. It's in the physical body that then translates to what the emotional body and the spiritual body needs. So they understand the 3 levels of energetics in the process of the physical pain. Yes.
Okay. All right. And so One of the questions I asked you at the beginning too was, how would you describe yourself if you gave yourself a title? And that's where you said holistic therapist. Are they looking for a service of a therapist of some sort, a movement therapist, a holistic therapist when they reach out to you? Do they talk about, or does anybody mention how they were trying to find you, or do they refer to you with a descriptive name like that? And what is that?
The descriptive name is trauma transformer from word of mouth.
Okay.
So if you have any
Wow.
trauma, so if you're looking for transformation and if you have any trauma, then you probably should go and talk to her.
Okay.
So the first meeting is them walking to the healing dome that I've created on the property and understanding, where's the disbalances in not having asphalt and just being in nature, how they are holding their posture alignment. So when they come in and they have a seat for a moment, we get to actually talk to what's happening.
Okay.
And it's created in a safety environment.
When people call you this trauma transformer, it's because someone else that worked with you told them about you and said that's what you do?
Yep.
So they only know that name after they've met you, or someone who has met you and worked with you tells them about you?
Yes, it's only word of mouth. Yeah.
Okay. Someone who doesn't know you and doesn't know anybody who knows you, who sends them your way, what kind of descriptive name person are they looking for? Therapy?
Somebody that works with the body work, therapy, anything with the body.
Okay. Because they're looking for a bodywork person to help them fix the body problems they have without the deeper understanding of what you're going to find when they work with you.
Correct.
I will tell you right now, one of the things that I tell people to do and save, and I believe it's episode 66 of the podcast, is a document called a Words They Say document. So this would be important for you to have and keep track of from free consults. Do you do free consult?
I have it in my website, but I don't have a single person reached out ever for anything.
Right now, you're getting all referrals, mostly.
I've only had referrals.
Right.
Correct.
Okay. So as you move into more virtual clients, it is going to be important for you to be paying attention. But even with the ones, that first session you have with them, you always have that, well, tell me why you're here, right? You're probably getting out of them what they came to you for at some point. There are going to be words in there that are going to be really important for you to know and understand as you move to try and get more clients from not referrals because you're going more virtual and online. Words that people will say to you are going to be very critical for you in the marketing that you do, okay? Because right now, some of the words that you're talking about are words that people only know because someone who worked with you told them, or they say it after they work with you. You have to kind of figure out to know what to use in your marketing, to know how people describe their problem, the way they talk about it before they know about you. Those are the words you want to make sure that you're including in how you market yourself, because that's what they're using before they know who you are. They're not going to know the term trauma transformer until someone probably tells them about you. Okay. One thing to pay attention to when you're talking to any client is how they think about what you're going to do for them before they know anything more about you, other than I've booked my first session with her and I'm going to talk to her. That's going to be key for you to know how to talk about your signature offer. Because if you get into all the weeds, the details that you shared earlier when you were talking about, when I asked you about what is gyrokinesis and gyrotonic, it went too far, right? You want a top level with that. I think you said something like it's a modality of healing mostly used in Europe, a special training, a special way of doing something. That's where you want to keep it to when anybody asks you about it, or even a way of referring to it on the website, okay? Or in any of your marketing. Ultimately, it sounds like to me, people will be coming to you because they have injury, they have some pain, they've got something, they want to know how their body can work better than it did before. Now, fun fact, you're going to laugh at this. I know exactly what you're talking about. You've only recently found out about me, but My company name is Pepper It Marketing. 5 years ago, my dog Pepper was running too fast in the house and knocked me over. I have a 1 foot long scar from the middle of my arm down past my elbow. She broke my elbow in 3 places when I came down. I'm sitting here as you're describing. Now, you were using a lot of words to describe. When you're talking about the sports injury and the pain, and there's scar tissue that people don't know about that's holding you back, I can't move my arms the same as I used to be able to. They don't work the same. My left arm is never going to be straight again, they say. They told me when it happened, I'll know what it feels like to have arthritis for the rest of my life. So I absolutely got what you were saying when you talked about sports injuries or other injuries where your body was affected and it's not moving the same way that it was before. And it sounds to me like your services, your therapy services, work with people, discover the root cause of whatever the movement issue is, and then you have special tools, techniques, modalities that you use to help people work on their body, work on their movement. It may include some meditation, some mindfulness, some other work. And that's how you help them get to where they can move that body. Not everybody can get back to 100%, but as best they can at some point, correct?
Correct.
Is that kind of a layman's term, a layperson's term of how you would describe what you do working with someone?
It is very simple, but it goes beyond that. And that's, I guess, that's where the roadblock for me is, because the movement exercises, and it's called the system of movement and beyond. Mm-hmm. Because once you have that, you understand the bigger picture of, the bone structure, understanding the trauma and so forth. So.
Right. It also sounds to me like people that would work with you, they have to have some sort of belief in something a little more than just the physical. They have to be open to energy work, meditation. You have services that go into holistic services. People have to be ready or open to that type of service as well, because it's not just your 1 + 1 = 2 and you fix it this way and you move on type of thing. Not everybody is necessarily open to that kind of healing and that kind of work. Would it be fair to say that most clients that you're looking to reach and work with have that openness to something that may not be something their doctor in the office would necessarily tell them to do?
Actually, the opposite.
Yeah. And you said a lot of them have tried all sorts of things. They've tried physio, they've tried chiropractic, they've tried massage. So it sounds like when they come to you, they're kind of at the end of their rope. They want to move better, they want to feel better, but they don't know what to do anymore because they've tried probably what you would call more of the traditional types of ways that you're supposed to look at trying to fix your body.
Correct.
And fix is probably not the right word. I mean, I am not a therapist at all, but
there's something wrong, and it's actually the wholeness of that word.
Right. Here's one thing that I'm going to tell you. I've worked with hundreds of dietitians in particular, and most of them have been in the weight inclusive, health at every size space, non-diet, intuitive eating. And they don't want to talk about losing weight or diets or any of that, but their clients don't know any better till they work with them. They are looking to lose weight and lose the belly fat. And why is it when I'm now over 50, I'm gaining all this weight? Their modalities don't focus on restriction and diets and all of that. But people will look for their service and talk about it that way. So what that partly means is you as the practice owner have to use some of the words your clients are going to use in your marketing, because they're going to get it because they're thinking that. I want you to fix my body. Maggie, that's your job. I don't know where else to go. And I've heard you can fix my body, or I've seen off your website that you can help me do that. Part of it is you will have to play a little game of making sure you're speaking how they would speak. And you don't get into the how too deeply because that's what they'll get when they work with you. Does that make sense to you? You have to kind of get into their shoes and think about it the way that they would think about it. And what that means is sometimes the content on your website or the way that you refer to your service and what you offer, you want to keep a little more simple so that they see that it is what it is and they recognize some piece of it. But when you actually work with them, you're going to take them deeper and do all that extra trauma transforming that you do with them. When I look at your Work With Me page on your website, because this is kind of where you have the services, you have Sacred Play sessions, Sacred Play Saturday class, 15-minute reset, personal enrichment retreat, rebirth program, soulful Sunday sessions. You have 6 different ways of doing this. When you typically work with a client, do you refer to it as a therapy session, a session?
It's really the sacred play because then you just open up to the vastness and the sacredness and all the elements of physical, spiritual, emotional, understanding trauma. What you are seeking and what your challenge is here to teach you something. Whatever that is, it happens when the body knows safety and being honored as a sacred temple and not. This is the only place you basically live. So if you're not safe there, then you probably will not be able to work with me.
Okay. One of the things that you have is you have this listing of everybody can benefit from alignment, breathwork, mindfulness, movement, book your consult. And then you have this list of information, free 15-minute reset over Zoom. You've got personal enrichment retreat, which is that more a full day or something?
Yeah, this is more in person. Plant medicine is also involved in order to understand the depth challenges, really understanding the issues in the tissue. Yeah.
But for most of your clients, do you book private one-on-one sessions with them and work with them for what they need?
It's exactly for what they need.
Okay. That's what you do is one-on-one. And as you move to go virtual, it will be one-on-one working with somebody to get what they need out of whatever it is. So you might use, and kind of further on your Work With Me page, you say, wonder what you get. Alignment, play, dance, breathwork, self-healing tools, self-care tools, joyful movement, physical therapy practices, bodywork practices, cathartic experiences, a sacred and safe container. Those sound like tools in your toolkit of how you work with clients.
Correct.
So you might use bodywork on somebody. You might use physical therapy on somebody. You might use self-healing. You may use all. You may use some. You may use pieces of it. You have a Soulful Sunday sessions, which looks like a group thing maybe online?
It's open for whoever wants to actually experience one thing.
Okay. Is it
just to get an idea?
Do you do it with one person or is it a group thing?
I would like to do it with a group, but one is perfectly fine.
And then your rebirth program looks like a 12-month program. Is that this signature offer that you're referring to? Is the rebirth program? Okay. And then you have the other ones, the 15-minute, the Saturday class, the sessions. All of those could be individual or group?
Yeah, it's just to get a taste of, like, it's a quick fix. Can I quick fix this and have that answered in that one session or in that 15-minute conversation?
Can I, on my own, book a Sacred Play Saturday class all by myself if I reached out to you?
Yes.
Ultimately, you want to offer the 12-month rebirth program as your signature offer because it probably includes everything, correct?
Yes.
Confusion is 100% the issue right here. Okay. Part of it is you're using a lot of words that some of them will attract people and hit home with them. Like, are you tired of being sick and tired, sick of vaccines, sick of biohacking your immune system? Let's work together on your body, breath, mobility. And a lot of that does hit in there. But I think where you're losing people is in describing your services and how you put your offers out there of what you do offer as a service, because that in itself is confusing. What I would be looking at, best step to move ahead with this, is look at this as simple as you can in the way of people work with you. So for the one-off stuff, not the rebirth program, but for the one-off pieces, I would make sure that you indicate on your website and on your page up at the top that you have these different services. You say sessions a lot. So therapy sessions might be what you want to call it, one-on-one or group therapy sessions. Like, you don't have to list that, but the way that you do have it on the one part at the bottom where you do say, wonder what you get, and then you have the list of things. Those are all part of what you put into your work. So if you want to get people understanding more about the signature program, number one, I wouldn't put it in the list that you have it within all the other ones. You've got your rebirth program hiding there in a pop-up thing, an accordion box that we call it. So you hit the down arrow and it opens up and describes it. In the same list as a 15-minute reset and a personal enrichment retreat and the Soulful Sunday sessions. That should come out on its own. And that should kind of be your larger offer. I assume it costs more than everything else if they're working with you for 12 months and you have whatever it is, pay up front, pay monthly fee. That should be on its own as kind of the premier service that you offer, the rebirth program. Okay. Where you're going to essentially, I'm going to assume from this, is that you're looking at the whole body and it's like a year of working on this, everything that you need. And that's how I would have that, is off kind of with a little, I would create almost like, we'll call it a logo for it and position it on its own. The other ones I would position simply as one-on-one or group services. I would probably say therapy services because that will help you in the world of SEO and the online world. Using the word therapy, using meditation, using movement, using body work, all of that is going to help you. So kind of putting more of that into how you describe what you offer. But you really are looking at, you have one-on-one stuff and smaller services where maybe they book one session or a couple sessions, and then you have that 12-month program. You need to split them apart on that page. And I would simply refer to, let people know, and I'll give you the links to those 2 episodes on the 1-2 offer punch that I was telling people about. It's essentially you create a smaller offer where they can get a taste of working with you, and you have a larger one that they can go into if they want deeper and more information. But right now, part of your issue is you've kind of clumped that really big, your premier service, into a list of small, different names and labels to these other one-on-one services or potentially group ones that you offer. It is confusing for anybody looking there. And in the virtual world, when you don't have someone that's seen you in person is referring somebody else in person who's just going to look on your website and figure out how to call you and book with you, you have to make sure that they can see what you offer and understand clearly, I can work with her one-on-one for these services here, or I can work with her like for a long term into this other one.
I would like to work with people that want to do the rebirthing.
Right.
As opposed to one-on-one single sessions.
I was just going to say, it sounds like though you're talking about they come and see you for a bunch of sessions, but they've never committed to paying you for a year and committing to the whole program upfront.
Correct.
That's where I would have an offer that you refer to it as your custom one-on-one private holistic therapy session. We might use this or this or this as part of the modalities. And in there, that's where your best opportunity is to tell someone about, especially if you do 1 or 2 sessions with them or 2 different things, let them know if they're a fit for working with you for a year, that you've got the rebirth program for a year. It is more of a commitment. Part of making sure your business is going to work, especially when you go online more, is making sure that people see the difference between that one-off session they can get with you and the whole rebirth program. So the rebirth program is not just about working with them for a year, because if you do that with your clients now, well, if they end up booking for a year, staying for a year, they're going through it anyhow. If you offer it as a true signature offer program, You want to put it together so that we will work on whatever it is you need. And as we go through this, there's some extra things that you get. Maybe you get to come to a quarterly Sunday class that you might offer or something like that. And they get it as part of the service, but only because they've committed to the whole year. If you kind of split those out on that page and you position, you have one-on-one services that you offer. You also have the rebirth program, which is a commitment to work with you longer, but they get extra back out of it by doing that work with you. Confusing for me is when I ask Sacred Play Saturday class, is it something you run like once a month for a group of people? Or can somebody just sign up and you work with them privately on the Saturday? Like those Saturday and Sunday things, when you call it a Saturday class or the Soulful Sunday sessions, a lot of people are going to think, oh, she runs a group one on that particular day and I could join in. So if that's what the intent of those are, position them like that. And again, not in the spot of the 15-minute reset and the other ones. You want to almost take your 6 named services and you have your one-on-ones, you have a couple groups, and then you have the longer-term rebirth program. You could put it on the same page, but right now you have all 6 kind of sitting there, and they're so different, but you've put them all in the same box. And I would position the 15-minute reset as something like it's an intro thing they can get a taste of, or people that work with you can book it when they need to. You work with people and you offer them private sessions, private therapy sessions. And there's a couple options that you have. It could be a Sacred Play session, or you start with the 15-minute reset, or maybe you just need that reset when you work with me under the Sacred Play sessions. Then you have your Saturday class and your Soulful Sunday sessions. Those are group ones that we offer. I run on the second Saturday, the fourth Sunday, something like that. And you encourage people to come in on those days and times. And maybe it's one person, maybe it's others. I would use those as a bonus for someone committing to your rebirth because it's the ultimate work with you. It's for people who need the long-term commitment, the long-term support so that they get the healing that they're looking for and you put everything into it. Plus, they get to join once every quarter that Saturday class or the Sunday session within the group as part of the program. Like that's how you could put a bonus into it to try and encourage people to take part. But right now, where they're all kind of listed in that one list and the accordion way of opening it up, it's not very clear to somebody just browsing your website. So not somebody who's told them about you and is going to come there. Virtually, people are going to be on your website. Your website needs to take them on a path. One of the things that you want to work on is creating a really good journey for people, right from the home page to the Work With Me page, to the About page, to the Contact page. That's going to be the flow that strangers coming to the website will probably follow. Sometimes About, then this Work With Me, and then Contact. So you want to have that flow there, but your services are confusing on the page, especially if somebody hasn't had the benefit of their friend telling them how great you were. And that's where the virtual people will come from. Does that make sense how I'm kind of suggesting you position them?
Yes.
Good. And I would categorize them. You've got the private one-on-one, the group, and then the premier service of the rebirth program. And that enrichment retreat might be the same thing. I kind of look at that. Is it like kind of almost like people would do a VIP day working with somebody or something?
Yes. The enrichment retreat is pretty intense, pretty much 40 hours in 4 days packed work. So that is.
Exactly. Your issue of, as you move to the virtual part of it, really defining the difference between those services, who they're for, who it's ideal for. If this is you, you want to test out working with me, the Sacred Play session, book one of those. And then that's where I would go with that. On your Work With Me page, you could have a section at the top, intros, where to start, beginner stuff here, like starting for first time people doing this. Then if you're looking for more in depth, the retreat. If you're looking for even more, that's the rebirth program. And then they would all kind of fit and flow well, and people would have a better understanding of the differences between them.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right. It's all about how you position it and put it together. I will give you, and for those listening in, I'll put a couple links to the episode 66 on the Words They Say document. And the episodes, I think it's like 114 and 15 or 113, 14. I'll put links to those on the offers, and cutting down how many things you offer people. When you do that, you'll find you'll start booking more people because you're not trying to sell so many different things and a whole bunch of different parts of it. You're just trying to sell the one service. And for me, you, Maggie, you sell one-on-one therapy sessions or your rebirth program or the group ones that you do as well.
Okay. Thank you.
We will get some resources for people on the page wherever you're listening into today's podcast. And before we sign off with Maggie, I just want to remind everybody you can book your own free marketing review as well and get some help in figuring out what do you do next when you're trying to sell your services, grow your practice, grow your business. Before we head out, Maggie, I do want to say thank you for talking about your business with everybody that will be listening in. I know that's not always easy to do. And I hope that gave you some steps there of where to go. For me, I think the biggest thing is nail down and differentiate those 6 different services you have. And you may even put 1 or 2 into one option. But just let people know this is more beginner. We're starting off, or solo ones if you want to book it. These are group ones I do. And then these are the special ones as well for people that want the deeper, longer work. That's what your retreat and your rebirth program are. And then people will see how they're different. And that makes it everything. If it's clearer to them on what the difference is when they want to talk to you, they see that a lot more clearly as well.
Thank you so much, Kathy.
You're welcome. Okay. All right.
Thank you so much.
If you can just quickly remind people where they can find you online in case they're interested in your services or want to connect with you on social media, where's the best places we can find you there?
It's www.maggieemhunt.com. That's MaggieMHunt.com. And my Instagram is Maggie Shaggy. That's it.
Maggie Shaggy. I love that.
Yes.
I didn't even notice that when I was looking at it. Maggie Shaggy. That's awesome. What does that mean? What does it stand for something?
I think somebody was talking to me and said like, "Hey, Maggie Shaggy." I said, "Oh, I like that."
That's awesome. Now, I will tell you, it is cute, but if you said, something like Maggie Therapy or something like that, it might be a lot more clear to people searching for you too. But it is pretty good. And you do have some of the other words in your Instagram bio as well, which is key. Your bios on social media are keyword rich. They're a very important way that people can find you when they're looking online.
Thank
All
you so
right.
much.
You're welcome, Maggie. And I just want to say thanks to everybody for tuning in and listening to our advice here to Maggie. And hopefully, if anyone else is struggling with getting clarity on your services and offers and making it easier for people to find you and understand, this has helped you as well. This is Kathy Colaiacovo signing off. And remember, if you want to thrive in practice or business, structure your services and packages to make it as easy as possible for people to say yes to working with you. And I'll see you next time. You can find all of our show notes and resources mentioned at marketingyourprivatepractice.com. Be sure to connect with me on Instagram at pepperitmarketing and say hi. I'd love to hear any feedback you have, and make sure to rate and review the podcast and hit subscribe on your favorite player so you don't miss any future episodes.